Did you all like that song?
Yes.
Have you been there? This past week?
Maybe right now.
That's very beautiful, ladies. And it is the song of all of our souls. We go in and out of that connection, in and out of that feeling, so at one with God, and then so lost. Like we just cannot find family or friend or spirit companion. And in those moments, we have to believe. And then as you turn to God, there you are, connected yet again. And our journey this month is about moving toward greatness, is it not? So, how many of you want to move toward greatness?
Yeah, right there.
Oh, I see many of you, many of you. I see others going, plateau is good. So those of you on the plateau, take notes for when you're ready to take a step. Okay, the rest of you, we're ready. So today we're going to talk about small steps toward greatness, and I want to start by sharing a couple of the stories that are in the Aquarian Gospel just to give us a framework. The first one I'm going to reference us to is in the book of is the chapter 77 in the Aquarian, and it's the story of Ruth. I reference this one all the time because I kind of like it. And most of you will remember Ruth is I will call her a disciple of Jesus's. And her husband is a devout Jew. And so she's been extolling the virtues of Christ consciousness, and her husband gets very angry with her and goes, "Get out of my house." And so he says to her, he drove her from her home. And she resisted not. And she said to Jesus as she's talking to him, "If Jesus is the Christ, he knows the way, and I am sure he is the Christ. My husband may become enraged and slay my human form, but he cannot kill my soul." Little rebellion. Little rebellion. "And in my Father's house are many mansions, and I have a dwelling place there." So she's sticking it. She's sticking her landing. And she's going to rebel against her husband too. If he's going to force her out, then she's leaving, by goodness. And she's going to go live with her sister. And Jesus listens to her and he goes, "That's good, that's good. But you know, your husband doesn't know any better. He's a devout Jew. And, you know, you could have done it differently." He said, "You didn't have to speak that way." And what does he tell her to do?
Go home.
Go home. He says to her, "Go home." And then he says this: "If you had walked in wisdom's way and would have been content to hold your peace, this grief wouldn't have come. It takes a long, long time for light to break into the shell of prejudice, and patience is the lesson you need to learn. The constant dropping of water wears away the hardest stone. The sweet and holy incense of a godly life will melt in tolerance much quicker than the hottest flame or hardest blow." So he is telling her to go home and be still and live the Christ life. Now, who is he asking to grow? Her. He's asking her to grow. Go home and grow. You think you know, but you don't. You think, but you don't know. You need to go back into that situation, and you need to be the light. And when it's time for change to come, it will be there for you. And then there's another example, which I won't read. It's about the toilet. I use this one often as well. Jesus is a young man, and he sees all the workers coming, and they're very exhausted and disheartened. And he said, "What is wrong with you people? You're so sad." And they said, "We have nothing to look forward to. Heaven is far away. In our religion, we won't get there till after many lifetimes of incarnating." And they're with the lower caste system. And he said to them, "Change your perspective. Start looking for God in your heart instead of in the sky. There is no heaven in the sky. Heaven is within you." And as he said this to them, he changed their vision. And he didn't say stop working. He didn't say quit your job. He didn't say go work someplace else. He said change your perspective. And when you do that, heaven will come here right now for you, and your work will be a joy. So who had to grow? They did. So I want you to hear with me. Ruth had a glimmer of greatness, didn't she? The Christ. I want to do that. When you hear what Jesus did and that you can do it too, don't you want to do it too? I want to do that. And when these workers see the glimmer that they could have heaven on earth, I want that too. They both had glimmers of greatness. And what did they both have to do? They had to go home. They had to go right where they were, and they had to start focusing and working toward it. And it's a journey, isn't it? It's a journey of patience. You have to learn patience. And as you learn patience, then you learn to hold the frequency strong. So, consistently seeing our greatness when it's not visible to the world is one of our first keys. I see I can be the Christ. I can be the Christ. Isn't this amazing? No one can see that in me. You know, think of the first time you learned about metaphysics and you told somebody, oh, I can manifest. And they go, yeah, you need not to go to that church. You know? But you saw the greatness. But could you move your magic wand then? No, it takes movement toward the greatness. It takes movement toward growing into these things. So, sometimes opportunities to see greatness move into greatness come disguised. So there's another story in chapter 158, and this is the very last week Jesus is walking. It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, crucified. It's Wednesday. He's talking to the people. I mean, he's trying to impart knowledge. And he gives them a parable, and he says there was a master who had to leave his estate. So he put some of his servants in charge of the property and some of his servants in charge of the house so that they would guard his wealth while he was gone. Well, in our mind today, we think guard, I'm going to guard it. No. In that world, it was take care of it, tend it, feed it, do the work that needs to be done, keep it going. Pay the bills if they need to be paid, harvest, plant the seeds, keep things going. And in the parable, we know what the servants did. They cracked the till on the wine, and they started partying because he didn't come back soon enough. And so they started partying, and they ate all the food, and they drank all the stuff. And eventually, after they'd given all hope that the master would return, how long could that have been? A year? 2? We don't know. When the master returned, all of his stuff was gone. Now, what if the servants had done what they were told to do? What if they had tilled the soil and kept things going and kept the house going and kept things paid and everything that was needed of the property? When he returned, what would he have met? Masters. He would have met masters. They would have been doing the job he did. And he was giving them an opportunity to grow into greatness. But they couldn't see that, could they? So sometimes our opportunity to grow into greatness comes disguised like that. It comes in hidden form. You with me? So I was speaking with Jim about a company that he used to work for. I'll try to get the meaning out. It was a company that deals with Quikrete. Okay, so they would hire new boys, new young men, and they would have them, for their first day or two, shovel a pile of sand and move it to another location. Because it needed to be done. But they knew why they were doing it. They were doing it to see if the candidate, the new hire, was willing to do it, was willing to follow orders, and if they were teachable. If they trusted the process. Because the job did not entail that every single day. It was only the beginning, we might say initiation, to see, is their character going to stick and become teachable? Are y'all hearing me? How often do our opportunities for greatness come disguised in things that we don't want to do? I don't want to do that. Even though it is on the road to what I want to do, how'd that get there? I want to be there. But sometimes going through that is a teachable moment so that by the time we get past it, we're on the road to mastery. You guys following? Okay. Greatness is not instantaneous. But greatness is bigger than what you are today. All right. Growth is a process that requires consistency. Spirit said this, by human consciousness, your human consciousness, by the right of your human consciousness, every element for your growth is already in your field. There is nothing that you need to look for right now. If you're being called to grow to a greater idea of yourself, all the elements that you're going to need are in your field. So, analogy that Cindy can understand is, I'm going to make a gluten-free cake, and everything I'm going to need is out on my counter. The flour, anything. Okay? Now, is it cake? It is not cake. So, as I am growing to have the capacity to make an edible gluten-free cake, it may take an exercise in patience and persistence to take and access all of the qualities. And I may have something out there I didn't even know I needed. Do I need that? I don't know if I need that or not, but it's there. But all the ingredients for my greatness are there to help my journey to begin to assist me. That is by divine right. If you are on the journey to something greater, all your ingredients are in your consciousness already. Because if they were not there, you would not get the go. People could say, be bigger. Oh, look, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. You wouldn't hear a word of it until all of your ingredients were in your field, and you'd go, oh, I could do that. I just had a divine idea. I've never heard it before. People have been telling you for years, but you've never heard it before. But all the ingredients have been gathered in its time. So you are never asked to grow into your greatness unless everything is already supplied for you. Now, you still be like me, you still may be like me, looking at the boxes and bags and going, don't know what my first step is. But they're here. See? All right. And while you are now beginning to grow, you're also gathering ingredients for your next step, the one that you will see after this one. Do you understand? Okay. So you need to become aware of all of the things that are happening. As you grow, you are typically kept in a familiar environment so that you're safe. Do you realize that? That's why go home. Stay safe in your little environment that you're familiar with and grow until you burst its seams. Grow until you're bigger than it. You don't have to torch it and run. You want to get bigger than it. Y'all with me on that one? Okay. You will be tried and you will be tested in this new greatness that you have. But that is when you leave that environment. You will be tried and tested. But while you're growing it, you need to be held in a safe space, a very safe space. I was reminded as I was working on this, and this is a very familiar story to you all, but it was important for me. All of our lives are a story of the manifestation of the divine in matter. Every one of our lives are. And how we allow God to move through and influence and guide. Some of us have had very difficult times, but we've learned to let Spirit move through us to work through that. Some of us have easy goes. Some of us are born into easy situations, but we still have to move and work, right? And when I was a little one, I was probably baptized when I was around 11. My mother and father were Baptists, and my mother also talked to ghosts, and my aunt saw auras, and my sister was doing astrology. So it wasn't your typical Baptist family. But it was go to church, shut up, and you'll be fine. But when I was baptized, my mom got me a little Bible. And I'd heard that one of the minister's daughters had read the whole thing, and I was wide-eyed. I was like probably 5th grade. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So I had my little white Bible, that she got. It's now torn and tattered. And I made a deal with myself. I would read one chapter every night before I went to sleep, period. In a discussion. I made myself read it. I made myself pronounce those begots, by golly, to the best of my ability. I read every word. And my mother said oftentimes she would come and take the Bible out from underneath me because I'd literally fall asleep on it. It took me 2 years to get through the whole thing. But I did. I got through the whole thing. Had that little Bible, and then I started reading it again. And so this went on for the next 10, 15, 20 years. When I was about 25, it's too early to tell a story if you can't tell it without crying. When I was about 25, my son's dad said to me, because we were living together, he said, "You know what, Cindy, you need a big girl Bible." Because I still had that little white Bible. And I still read it every day and had it by my side, and it was my little kid Bible, you know. And he bought me a nice big King James version. And it was like, oh, this is awesome. So that was, now I read. And then after we separated, and I dated a young man for just a nanosecond, this young man had gotten himself a brand new Lamza that was hardbound, and they were real expensive. And I was young, and I'm barely putting food on the table. And I went, "Oh my God, you have a Lamza? Oh my, that is amazing! I want one. I'm going to get one. I just can't wait to read it because it's translated from the Peshitta text, so it's different language. It's got more of the real meaning rather than going through the series of translations. It's translated from the original Semitic." I was so excited. The Bible ended up at my house, and he said, "This is for you. You want this more than I do, and I want you to have it." Oh my God, Lamza. Read. So then, even at this point, am I even thinking I'm going to be a minister? No. I had no idea I was going to be a minister. I had no idea years of reading the Bible I was going to be a minister. I did not have a clue. But then it started, and I was ordained, and I met this wild, crazy guy. I started dating him. And he said, "Cindy," it was wild. He said, "Cindy, you got to read this book because it's everything that you say. All the metaphysical stuff that you teach that nobody else is saying is in this book." I said, "Well, what is it?" And he gave it to me, and I started reading it, and we were on vacation in Florida, and I remember the minute I was reading the book, I was crying. I came running out of the bedroom because I'd been, by myself reading. I said, "Oh my God, that's the best book. You know you're not getting it back." And he said, "That's okay, I have another." So I was given the hardback Lamza, an original hardback Lamza that Patrick had. And I want you to hear my story. I never bought a Bible. But do you think Spirit let me be without what I needed? Every time I needed it, somebody gifted me with what I needed, even if they were only in my life for a nanosecond. I got what I needed. And do you think I ever let this? I was not going to let this go. This has been rebound a couple of times, by the way. Wasn't going to let it go. And he knew it when he gave it to me. Wild and crazy guy that he is. In your energy field, the things that you are calling to yourself, the things that are finding you, the interesting things that you can't let go of, they're all building blocks to the next level of greatness. Even if it isn't as such a direct line, Bible to minister, it's still for you and for your greatness. And they wanted you to be aware of that so many of us just have this magnet that's functioning all the time, bringing what you need to you. So I just wanted to share that with you. And now I want to give you a key. The key to your greatness is your investment in self-talk. That's the key to your greatness. We can see our greatness, but until we can speak it knowingly, it cannot fully become. They say when you want to manifest something, one of the most powerful things is to speak what's true of you. What is true of you? I know a young man that was working in construction and learning and working and learning, and then had his own business, and then had his own business, then had his own business. One day he said, "I do better with people. I want to work with people. I want to take my energy and make somebody's business, be working with them and make it a success. That's what I want. I want to help someone succeed so I can succeed." That was his formula. Do you know how long it took him to come to that? Everything that he was working for was showing him and feeding him and guiding him. And when he claimed that, he moved into success. When he said, "This is what will make me happy. This is where I will find my greatness. I will not find it alone. I don't want to. That's not where my thing is. I'll find it with people." Can you see? So often we think we're searching for something, but we're only gathering material for when we turn that corner to our greatness. and grow into it. So declaring it, declaring what you feel you want, and then the self-talk about it. The song you say that the girls sang, what a beautiful song. Sometimes we don't say negative things about ourselves. Sometimes we say things that alienate us. I feel lost. Well, I'm not saying I'm a bad person, but I'm saying I feel disconnected. And you do feel that way. These words, this type of self-talk, there's no one to help me. How many have said that? I'm on my own. I got to do it by myself. People say that. It's all up to me, man. Me and God got it. Well, we've just alienated our brothers and sisters. You know, so our self-talk has to be as strong as the vision of greatness we see. Even if we don't feel that we're there yet, it has to be that strong. So I wanted to give you a key. You all meditate every day, right? Okay. How many of you journal after you meditate? Good. 2 people. Okay. That's a percentage, but we won't calculate it. So, this is a key for you. When you meditate, if you give yourself even just 10 or 15 minutes in the morning afterwards, and you have a pad, just a notebook, nothing special, and you write down what, in longhand, what did I learn in this meditation? And then you'll start writing, well, not much, I can't remember much. I'm only doing this because Cindy's making me. I don't have much time to do this. Oh, but I do remember there was a soft cloud, and then this happened and that happened. Oh, I'm loved. Everything's going to be okay. Oh, everything's going to be okay. And words will start coming through your writing. It is your spirit and the angels talking to you. And I'm going to tell you, they see your greatness. The words that you will write, and some of you will write long paragraphs that are angelic. And they're always positive. There is never a negative word that comes through this work, because you are letting your mind talk for a nanosecond and then letting the Spirit show you what you learned in the meditation and who you are. And you'll write all these positive things. And I want you to read them, and I want you to do one thing. Create one affirmation from that day's writings about yourself. And say it. You may have a paragraph about your greatness. Oh, you're fabulous, wonderful, la 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 la. Pick something and say, I am. It could simply be, I am so deeply loved. Nothing is withheld from me. Does that make you feel great? I am so adored by God. I spread joy everywhere I go. Does that make you feel great? Anything, but we're taking the words of the divine love that surrounds us, and we're just making one little sentence. And if you did that every day, how powerful would you feel when you were walking? Now notice this isn't directed toward any greatness that you see on the horizon, is it? We don't have to say, I'm the best baker ever. Back to my analogy. But if I am affirming my greatness in any way, I'm affirming my greatness in every way. Every way. Have any of you, even as metaphysical Christians, said, is this as good as it gets right now? Is this as happy as I'm ever going to be? Yeah, I love the young ones. Not yet, ma'am. Not yet. I'm holding out for the good. No, but we all hit those plateaus where we go, oh, I'm kind of leveled out. Is this as good as, is it time for me to check out, God? Is that it? We've forgotten that there's a greater level of self to express. And the minute we plateau like that, take a breath, call in your greatness. I am greater than this moment. God definitely is greater than this moment, and I am greater than this moment, and I'm going to just breathe it in. I may not get a glimmer, but I'm going to claim it. I'm going to claim that greater things lie ahead, and greater love can flow through me, and I'm going to claim that. When we start seeing the potential of our expansion in a loving, step-by-step, very gentle way, it becomes easy. So, you have everything you need to become greater. When you see it and you can articulate it, it is time. It's time. But you don't have to burn up the life. Now, some of us are guided to move on. I'm not telling you if you're guided to move on, don't. But normally, you will leave because you've burst the seams of the situation. You will leave because you no longer fit in that situation, right? Because you have sat in it and you've been great and you've been great and you're loving self and loving self and loving self. Oh, time to go. Got to go to something bigger. We are always held in this beautiful safety while we grow. And you are not designed to plateau. That's just the bottom line. You can take a rest, but you are not designed to plateau. So I get it. All right. We all know Metaphysical Principles 101, what you focus on expands. You know that. You don't use it. What you focus on expands. All right, I'm going to close this with this. This is Jesus, teacher, healer. Sometimes it's good just to hear somebody else's words, right? White Eagle says this. On earth, if you desire to go to a particular function, you wear a dress suitable for the occasion. And if you do not clothe yourself rightly, you are unable to enter the function. How can man expect to participate in the joys of the heavenly life if he has no clothing, no aura, no senses developed which enable him to touch the spheres of heaven? And if we deny our greatness, we cannot create those clothings. As children of God, that is the clothing we wear, the greatness, the love, the light, the ability to manifest. Say, I got it. Let's go within. Father, Mother God, we ask that your light and your love just engulf this space. And I ask that a beautiful column of light come over each person here, so they have their separate energy, the separate color that surrounds them. And I would ask each of you just to feel the safety in that column of light. Begin to feel your life, the vibration of who you are, vibrating around you in the column of light. Just feel all the energy. If you're visual, you might see it. If you can't see it or feel it, imagine it. Imagine pockets of light, pockets of whatever you see. There will be free-flowing areas. There will be tight, constricted areas. You may see some knots in the field. Whatever you see is you. And just realize, I created this. Right here, right now. I can change. And now let your focus go to your heart. And just see the radiant purity that moves from your heart center. A light that is unrestricted and untangled and just pure. In that light is my greatness. And imagine, if you will, that light just pouring through the energy field that we witnessed a moment ago. Let the heart light just pour through it. And just see everything beginning to harmonize. No more separation, everything in motion, everything in harmony. And in this moment, you may not even know how or what you want to aspire to be great in. Just feel the column of light. Feel that you are a child of God. God is great, and I am great. I aspire to my greatness. I aspire to my greatness. And just feel a peace moving through your body, your mind, your heart. And Father, Mother God, I ask that you feed each one. These are your beloved children. Hold them safe in this beautiful space where they can grow and expand. Hold them in the beautiful energy of support until they burst the seams into their greatness. And we know that you are there in every step. And we thank you. Now take a breath and just feel love, send love into the room. And Father, Mother God, we are so grateful. We thank you with our hearts for this world and this opportunity to heal and to become. Let your focus come back to your body and feel the presence of Jesus Christ still with you. Your beloved way shower, your guide, teacher, older brother, whatever relationship, however you want to speak it. Know that He walks this earth with you. And just feel the peace. Breathe, and when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. Did you feel your energy field become more brilliant and beautiful? Do you know how great you are? Yes. Awesome. Do you know what would be awesome? If everyone in this room, if we all just were experiencing our greatness at the same time, the world would never be the same. Such power would be emitted, it would be amazing. We should put that on our calendar. Say, yay, God.
Yeah.